Welcome back to another episode of the Division Series brought to you by Spot On Sports, the new wave of sports where we're not just accurate, but spot on. I'll be your host today, Jermaine. We got some awesome people with us today. My guy, John, and we
What's
got
good?
Trey.
What's good?
How y'all doing?
We're doing
Good,
man.
Ready to
How
talk
you
some
doing?
sports.
I'm doing good, doing good. Let's jump right into it. So today we're going to talk about the AFC South, which got Houston Texans, Tennessee Titans, Indianapolis Colts, Jacksonville Jaguars. A lot of new faces, a lot of turnover in the division. Let's start with the Texans. John, I ask you first. Do you think the Texans have what it takes to make the playoffs with the shipment and the departure of DeAndre Hopkins?
I do think they have what it takes to make the playoffs. It all starts with your quarterback, and they have Deshaun Watson, one of the best quarterbacks in the league. Obviously, you lose DeAndre Hopkins, arguably the best receiver in the league, unquestionably a top 2 or 3 receiver in the league. But you get Brandon Cooks. He's had 1,000 yards, I think, the last 4 or 5 years. He's kind of one of the most underrated, forgotten receivers in the league. You still got Kenny Stills. You have to see about Will Fuller and his health. You got Kiki QT. You did get David Johnson, who can still be serviceable. Plus, you still got Duke Johnson. So, like I said, it just all starts with the quarterback. Still got some good pieces on defense with Bernardrick McKinney, Whitney Merciless, J.J. Watt. So, I think they have enough to be able to make the playoffs. I'm not sure about winning the division, but, it's a quarterback-driven league, and they got one of the best quarterbacks in the league in Deshaun Watson. So, I think they have what it takes to and I don't think that the division will be better next year because I think Tennessee will be solid. I think they might fall off a little bit, and I think Indianapolis is going to be a little bit better. But I still don't think that division is great or challenging or present much of a roadblock. So I think they have enough to make the playoffs.
All right. What about you, Trey? What you got to say?
I agree with him. Instead they're trying to spread it out more and not just rely on one wide receiver. And they got a top 5 quarterback in Deshaun Watson. Like Brandon Cooks and Will Fuller can stay healthy, then they'll be good for him. If David Johnson go back to like 5 years ago, David Johnson, they'll be good. They sure up the offensive line. They have a bunch of speed on the perimeter, so they just trying to spread people out and just try to go deep and let Deshaun Watson work his magic.
Yeah. I forgot. Oh, my bad. No, go ahead. No, I was just gonna say I forgot that. My bad. I forgot Brandon Cooks was injured last year, but before that, I think he had like 3 or 4 straight 1,000-yard seasons. I apologize.
Look, concussions. He didn't have like 4 or 5 of them. I'm surprised he walking still.
Right.
Yeah.
I agree with both of you. I think they'll make the playoffs. I'm not sure if they'll win the division. I like the David Johnson pickup and the Brandon Cooks. That's a lot of speed out there for Deshaun Watson, between Cooks and Fuller, and then you got Stills. And then I like David Fells. I think he's going to have a nice breakout year this year. He's a big body tight end. You can go up and get some jump balls for you. Real useful in the red zone.
You think he's going to start over Akins? Because Akins came on last year.
He did, but I think they're going to split. I think they're going to split a lot of carries, a lot of snaps.
Yeah, he got a lot of weapons. You believe in David Johnson? I play fantasy football. I
believe in David. I believe in David Johnson because he can run the ball and he can come out and catch. That's what a lot of NFL teams need nowadays. The receiving running backs. If you see Christian McCaffrey, he lit up the fantasy world. So if David Johnson can even do a little bit of that with Deshaun Watson, I'm sure they'll fare out pretty well for Houston.
And I think that it's all about managing your expectations. I think if you're expecting David Johnson to come in and be Zeke, Christian McCaffrey, Dalvin Cook, that's not what it's going to be. But he's still a very good running back. And then, like I said, if you mix him in with that 1-2 punch, him and Duke Johnson, you can do a lot of things on offense. They started running a lot of RPOs at the end of the year last year, even some 2 tight end sets. So Akins and Fells could be on the field at the same time. But there's just so many different things you can do with David Johnson and his skill set. Remember, he was close to 1,000 yards receiving before, in his prime. So you can do a lot with him. Like I said, it's just about expectations. He's not going to be Ezekiel Elliott. He's not going to be Dalvin Cook. He's not going to be Christian McCaffrey, but he can be a very serviceable running back and do a lot for that offense.
Yeah, they got the talent. I agree. Another thing that I don't like about them, it seems like Bill O'Brien play calling can be suspect at times. Watson be in the flow of a game, and sometimes he'll switch it up and mess the flow up. So if Bill O'Brien can overcome if Watson can overcome Bill O'Brien's bad play calling, they'll be straight.
All right.
management. And I also just real quick too, as great as Deshaun Watson is, there are a couple flaws in his game, just kind of sitting back there patting the ball, his decision making at times. So hopefully this year is that year he takes that step, because I do think he's one of the best quarterbacks in the league. So yeah, I think he has some small tweaks he can make to really take that step into being unquestionably elite.
Do you? I will ask a question. Do you think he held the ball too long because he was waiting for Hopkins to get open, and that's why they traded him?
I don't think so.
I'm not sure. I think Deshaun Watson just kind of reminds me of like a Carson Wentz in a sense, where they don't like to check down the ball. They're constantly looking for that big play. And if you look at the receivers he has, Will Fuller, that's a deep threat. DeAndre Hopkins, if you can sit back there long enough, he's gonna find his way open. So I think it's just more so, the nature of the way that Deshaun Watson plays the position. He's always looking for the home run. I don't think it's necessarily him trying to force the ball to DeAndre Hopkins, but I do think now they will be more distributive on offense rather than him looking for DeAndre Hopkins. But I think that's just his style of play. I don't think it had anything to do with him having an all-world receiver on the outside. I think he just holds onto the ball too long, and he's always looking for the home run, which can lead to a lot of sacks and just kind of like a lot of stagnant offense.
All right, guys. Let's move on to the Indianapolis Colts. The Colts, as we know, they brought in Phillip Rivers this year. They made a big trade for DeForest Buckner, giving up their first-round pick. They also brought in Jonathan Taylor, the rookie out of Wisconsin. How do y'all think the Colts' new offense will look this season?
I think they're gonna try to do smash mouth. They're just gonna run the ball, probably like the Wisconsin NFL. They're gonna try to run the ball with Mack and Taylor, and then play action over the top with Ty. And they drafted a wide receiver. Oh, the dude from USC,
Michael Pittman Jr.
Yeah, the dude from USC. They drafted him. I like they draft. They got Buckner to help the linebacker Leonard. I like what they doing. Phillip Rivers, as long as if they could protect him, because he's not like fleet of foot no more. Just protect him with the running game and with offensive line. I think they could do some damage in the division.
Okay.
Yeah, I love that Colts roster. Actually, I think they're one of the most balanced rosters in the league. Just you look at offense and defense, and we talk all the time about how games are won in the trenches. And you look at that offensive line; they have one of the best offensive lines in the National Football League. Headed by Quentin Nelson, who I think is right behind Zach Martin for the best guard in the league. And then you look at the defensive line, like you talked about. Picking up DeForest Buckner, who was an absolute force for the San Francisco 49ers last year, and probably is the second best D tackle in the league, maybe third. If you're looking at Aaron Donald, Fletcher Cox, and then DeForest Buckner, he's right there. So I think they have a great roster. I think, like Trey said, they're just going to start with the run, and run the ball with Marlon Mack. They still got Naheem Hines. Plus, you draft Jonathan Taylor, who had 3 straight 2,000-yard seasons in football. The Chargers asked Phillip Rivers to do a lot last year, even though they were really talented. They had a bad O-line, and they asked him to go out there and win games. The Colts aren't asking Phillip Rivers to go out there and win games. They're going to run the ball. They're going to play great defense. I think Darius Leonard is going to have a bounce-back season. And Phillip Rivers is just going to be able to pick apart defenses and take what the defense gives them. You still have Ty. You mentioned Michael Pittman. We've heard a lot for the last couple of years, or I think last year, about Paris Campbell in the slot, but he didn't get to do much. But that's still a 4-2, 4-3 receiver. So I think they have a lot of talent. I really like that Colts roster. I love what Frank Reich has done as the coach, and I would expect them to be really good this year.
I like Frank Reich.
I like the Colts roster too, though. I have to agree with you. I mean, the defense, they didn't really lose much at all. And adding DeForest Buckner is just beefing it up a lot more. And then, again, the new offense, a new look offense for Phillip Rivers, new coach. It's just Colts in a position where they have a lot of new opportunity. I'm really shocked. Well, I'm really excited to see what they can do if they can surprise some people and shock some people in the division. Trey, who do you got winning the AFC South this year?
The Colts. I think they can protect Phillip Rivers, like I said, with the run game with Mack and Taylor, and protect them with the offensive line. They brought back their left tackle. They got Quentin Nelson. They got a lot of weapons on offense, and then defense. I like the Buckner pickup and Leonard, and they Justin Houston. He's still playing for them, so they can keep on gelling the D-line and the offense, like I said, the trenches that win games. I see the best roster in the division, and a quarterback that ain't gonna make no mistakes if he's protected.
Now, what about the Tennessee Titans? Do you think they still have a chance maybe to finish maybe within the first two positions in the division?
No, I don't think the Titans ain't gonna surprise nobody this year, man.
Okay.
I don't think the book out on Tannehill. Just stack the box and make him beat you. Unless AJ Brown take the next step and be a top 10 wide receiver, which I think he can do. I just don't. I like the Colts and the Texans roster better than the Titan roster. And I don't believe in Tannehill. I don't think he deserved that money. They still ain't pay. They still ain't pay Henry, so he ain't gonna run as hard.
I don't like that neither. They paid Tannehill, but then franchise tag Henry, make him have to work for it all again. I don't agree with that neither.
Henry ain't running hard this year.
What you think, John? Who you think is gonna take the division this year?
So, I'm not sure if this is supposed to be a debate or not, but, I wholeheartedly agree. Like I said, I love that Colts roster. I think they're going to be able to win the division this year. A lot of people forget last year with Jacoby Brissett, they were 5-2 before they kind of fell off. And I think they even beat the Chiefs with Patrick Mahomes, either before or after he got injured. So that's a really good team, well coached. I think they've gotten way better. They upgraded at quarterback. Like I said, DeForest Buckner is one of the best D tackles in the league. You get him essentially just for a first-round pick, and then you paid him, but they had the cap space to do so. You're not going to get a player like DeForest Buckner at number 13. So, I think the Colts are going to win the division. I think all the other teams in the division got a little bit worse, and the Colts got markedly better. As far as the Titans, they've been 9-7, I think, either the last 2 or 3 years, but I really think that's their ceiling. When you look at the Titans roster, that defense is really good. They're always technically sound, and they're going to play great defense. But like Trey said, on offense, they're just not really going to scare anybody. I think Corey Davis hasn't really lived up to where he was drafted in the top 10. A.J. Brown came on last year, but, is A.J. Brown really a number one? That's yet to be seen. And then, like Trey said, Derrick Henry, running back shelf life is short, and the special ones are special, but we really don't know about Derrick Henry. Before last year and the end of the year before, people were asking, is Derrick Henry a bust? So we can't, assume that he's just going to come in and lead the league and rushing again. And then, like you said, with Tannehill, we really don't know. We got a small sample size last year, which is about 10 games. But now he's the man. He's been paid, and he's going to lead this team. So, we just don't know what we're going to get from the Titans. Like I said, I think 9-7 is their ceiling. I think that's the type of team they are. But I can see the Colts really making some noise and winning that division.
All right. Well, there you have it, you guys. That's another episode of Division Talk here on Spot on Sports. You can catch us on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook. Like, subscribe, comment. John and Trey, let people know where they can find you guys.
On Instagram, The Wrong Jonathan, THE, Wrong, WRONG, Jonathan, JONATHAN. Twitter, John Zoball, JONZOBALL.
My Twitter is Trey Stein, it's TRESTEIN _. And my Instagram is OneLastKing _Trey. I need to change that.
Well, you guys got to hear another episode from Spot on Sports. Again, be there to like, comment, share, subscribe. And we'll have another episode. Be back for you next week. All right.